Hi, my name is Samuel Goodwin and I am a production manager here at Atlanta Media Pros. Today I'm going to be giving a really brief rundown on the difference between still photography and video. So the place to start with this is you just think about the mechanics of how film cameras work. So a still film camera, what you do is every time you hit the button, it opens the shutter for a set amount of time, light comes in and it exposes a single frame of film. Video takes 24 of those little frames and throws it by the lens each second. That's why the standard for video in the United States is 24 frames per second. So now we'll think about some of the big logistical differences between shooting still photography and shooting video. First of all, still photography equipment is much cheaper. It's just easier to have, even digitally, the technology to capture a nice image on a single frame than it is to have one that has to run continuously in a video. Another difference is lighting for still photography is much cheaper. Lighting a still photography, you only have to expose for a second, so you can use flash bulbs. Video, however, requires continuous lighting, which is what I'm being lit with right now. These are just lights that have to stay on for a while, and if they're really bright, that can get really expensive and require a lot of personnel to run. Now you might ask, well, if I'm just shooting video, couldn't I theoretically just pause it and pull still images out of a video in order to get it also to work as a photography project? Now, this would work, but the problem is when you're only shooting 24 frames per second, there's a lot of motion blur. Now, a way around this that a lot of big-time videographers use is they will shoot at high speed. What this means is that instead of 24 frames per second going past the lens, you'll have 60 frames per second or 120 frames even. Now, what this allows you to do is just have a lot more images, so there's a lot less time between frames. So that way there's a lot less motion blur. But the one disadvantage to this is that when the film is going that much faster, your shutter has to be that much faster. It just requires a ton more light. It's really difficult to do shoots like this at night unless you have a phenomenal amount of lights that you can bring with you. It just gets more expensive and a little bit more difficult. But at Atlanta Media Pros, we are masters of all of this. We have some of the best photographers or videographers ready to come in, or for specialty like high-speed projects, we have great freelancers we work with who will come in and work for us anytime. So hit us up with help for your videography or photography projects today.